I'd like to talk to you for a few minutes about the importance of good housekeeping. The first impression of a project from visitors, inspectors, architects, owners, or anyone not involved with the project on a daily basis is going to be embossed in their minds by the housekeeping. People that visit construction sites don't have to know anything about construction, but they can tell if the project is clean or if it's trashy. Housekeeping or cleanup is an activity that always seems to be considered a non-productive activity. Performing the work that goes into completing a project seems more important than housekeeping. To the contrary, let's take a look at housekeeping as a necessity to the bottom line profit of the project. First, let's talk about poor housekeeping and the effects it has on our projects. Poor housekeeping results in lower productivity because workers have to avoid debris lying in walkways and work areas. Most projects use scissor lifts after the slabs are poured and the overhead work begins. When debris is scattered over the slab, the scissor lifts can't maneuver around the floors and get into positions that the workers need to be. Poor housekeeping also results in unnecessary accidents. When clutter and debris is left scattered over the work areas, this causes trip hazards, which causes strained muscles, cuts, and bruises when workers can't walk on a clean surface when they're carrying materials. Poor housekeeping results in extension cords and the electrical power tool cords being damaged when the cords have to be stretched across the debris, and workers and equipment mash them into sharp edges when they step on them. Poor housekeeping results in potential fire hazards. When debris is piled up and hot work with sparks from welding or cutting steel is going on overhead. Poor housekeeping is a major safety hazard when the emergency exits are cluttered and workers are not able to exit the building if an emergency evacuation is needed. Poor housekeeping results in rework when finished work is damaged due to debris and clutter or excess material being in the way when different trades are trying to complete their work. Let me give you an example. Let's just say the trade partner that's putting in the toilet partitions comes in and there's trash and debris left over from the plumbing trade partner, and the toilet partition trade partner is carrying his material, say a urinal screen, and he walks into the restroom and he steps on a piece of copper tubing that was left there. He temporarily loses his balance, and then the toilet partition bumps into the wall. All right, now we've got a piece of cracked ceramic tile, or say just maybe a ding in the drywall. All right, that results in the ceramic tile trade partner has to come back to the job site and repair one piece of tile. And usually this is when he's already demobilized and it's a special trip to bring him back. Or let's just say the drywall gets damaged. The drywall has to be repaired, then you have to prime it, and then you have to repaint it with 2 coats of paint. So that don't seem like a lot, but one person has to touch that one spot 4 times. Poor housekeeping results in punch list items that could have been avoided, and that kind of confirms what I just talked about having to come back, because when that ding gets to be important in the bathroom is during the punch list stages, when all the trade partners are gone and the architects walk through and he discovers the ding, or that's when it's first brought to anybody's attention. Poor housekeeping outside the building results in material being damaged when equipment runs over it. Equipment cannot move around the job site freely when trash and debris is not picked up and placed in dumpsters. When equipment has to run over debris, it can cause flat tires or damage to the equipment. When trash and debris is left lying on the ground, it eventually gets worked down into the dirt or the mud, and then the project begins to look like a landfill rather than an organized construction project. All the points we just discussed incur cost that could be avoided and affects the bottom line of profit for our projects. Now let's talk about ways we can handle housekeeping on a daily basis and keep our projects clean and orderly. Number one, keep material inside the building on dollies, carts, racks, or keep it on dunnage so that a pallet jack can be used to move the material. Keep material outside the building on dunnage so forklifts or material handling equipment can move the material without having to touch the material by hand. Have all trade partners clean up their work areas at the end of each day. Have workers dedicated to sweep the inside of the building once a week or more often as necessary. Make housekeeping a topic at every safety meeting and weekly trade partner meetings, and encourage trade partners to buy in to taking part. Create a safety committee who is responsible for inspecting the project daily. Drywall trade partners and masonry trade partners are two that create more trash and debris than others. These trade partners should have workers dedicated to full-time cleanup. Good housekeeping on a project will have very positive influence on the attitudes of the workers. If all of the trade partners contribute to the way the project is kept clean, you will find the different trades seem to get along better and they respect the work of each other more. Damage and loss of tools will be decreased, projects will progress on schedule, and the cost that we've talked about with poor housekeeping will be minimized.